Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
Welcome into First Pitch for Tuesday, June 8th. I am your host, Drew Martin, joined by Dave Koken and Steve Merrill of WagerTalk.com. We got 4 games, best bets at the end. Reminder, guys, it's $2 Tuesday. Top play from the hottest handicapper at both websites, Sports Memo and WagerTalk.com, discounted to just $2. So great day to check out the websites. But first up here, Dave Koken from WagerTalk.com. Dave, welcome in. Happy Tuesday morning to you, buddy.
Thank you, Drew. I had an uneventful Monday. I had one play, and there was a pitching change, so that got scratched, and I wasn't involved in anything else. So I was strictly a spectator yesterday. But back at it today, I have a best bet in baseball, and I'll note that my 4% best bets in baseball, number 1 at WagerTalk on the season. So happy about that, and expect to add another winner tonight. And I have a free play that I posted on Twitter at Dave Koken, at WagerTalk.com on the free picks page, or at my homepage, wt.buzz/DC. And that will also be a best bet here on the show. So we'll talk about it here. Very quickly, Steve Merrill was late for this broadcast and claimed that he was putting up a free play. I'll take him at his word for that. I think there should be some kind of a fine here. So for those of you in chat, and I can't read the chat because I'm on Skype, but for those of you in chat, I suggest that you act as co-commissioners here and come up with some kind of a fine that we can levy on Mr. Merrill. Perhaps force him to bet UNLV over the win total of 1.5. That would be a fine because it's probably not going to win. So something along those lines.
Yeah, Dave. I mean, betting the unders of 1.5 season win total in college football. Heck, it could be profitable. And we got Ty, James, Rara. Let us know what you think in the chat box, what the fine should be for Steve Merrill. But all in good fun here. Steve, welcome into the show, buddy.
No, yeah, I honestly was recording. So I posted a free play on my page on Wager Talk earlier today, and I just recorded a video for an additional free play. And then at the end of this show, I'm going to use a third game. So there's 3 different free plays from Steve Merrill floating around in cyberspace. So that extra 5 minutes was worth it. And I was going to do it after the show, guys, because I actually like getting your all's insight here on the MLB, and I love doing the baseball video afterwards. But I'm doing John Ryan's show at 2:30 Eastern here, so check that out as well. We're going to do a live talk a little Bitcoin and baseball and NBA on that one. So Drew, I know you'll be checking that out. So yeah, I squeezed in a free play video. She'll be up in the next hour or so. I wanted to get that rolling. Because we've been red hot. In fact, tonight's the first time in history that I've ever released 2 5% best bets on the same card ever. Both NBA playoff games tonight qualify. I'm on a 14-3 all sports run over the past 9 days, an 11-2 baseball NBA playoff run, 11-2, 19-6 NBA run over the past few weeks, and 2 5% NBA best bets tonight right now at WagerTalk.com. Plus that bonus baseball play. And for everyone out there, an additional video coming soon. So that's why I was late. It was well worth the wait. So no penalty necessary.
All right. And NBA playoffs, guys, Steve Merrill has been very, very good over the last, Steve, couple of years now. You're seeing it well. And just whatever it is, the players trying maybe even might be part of the handicap. But the playoffs, for whatever reason, have been a lot better for you than the regular season, huh?
Yeah, this regular season was a mess. It was the worst I've seen in 25 years with all the load management, not knowing who was going to play, guys deciding 1 hour before they're not playing. It was very difficult. But, yeah, you don't get that shenanigans as the most part in the NBA playoffs. And it's really been 25 straight years, Drew, that I've won in the NBA postseason. And I said coming in that it's my favorite time of the year. We're on a 19-6 NBA run right now.
All right. Well, we also got the Bitcoin talk, I guess, on the show later on Sports Memo channel, guys. And if you haven't checked your cryptocurrency accounts, today's probably not a good day to check it. It's red hot towards the under, guys. But let's get into the games here. We got the Dodgers and the Pirates first game up here, Dave. 7:05 Eastern. Looks to be 82 degrees here in one of the nicest ballparks in America. Walker Buehler and Brubaker going for the Pirates. 8.5 being the total. Heavy favorites here for the Dodgers, even though the lineup's not that hot right now, Dave. Minus 175. What are you thinking here? Dodgers and Pirates.
Man, it's tough to play the Pirates. They're just such a bad baseball team. One of the few bright lights for them this year has been JT Brubaker. He's pitched good ball, and it looks like he's emerging as the ace on that staff. He'll have to be at his best tonight against the Dodgers. Look, they're not killing the ball right now, but they haven't been awful. WRC plus over the last week is 97, so it's basically about average. Problem with the Pirates is even when they get good pitching, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to win because they can't hit. Now they do finally get Colin Moran back off the DL. That'll help a little bit, or the IL. I'm still stuck calling it the disabled list. It's now the injured list. It's the same thing basically. So that helps the offense a little bit, especially against the righty because he can hit righties. But yeah, it's just one of those games where too fat a price for me to lay. I just can't bank on the Pirates to win. I think if there's one thing that's possible here, it would be the under. Buehler seems to be. I can't say this with conviction. He looks like he's ready to break out and start pitching like Walker Buehler. The numbers really don't reflect it. His 1 June start, OPS was 893. That's not good. But against this lineup, he figures to do well. Brubaker's been tough. I think he can make a little bit of a case for a first 5-inning under here.
Yeah, towards the under. Brubaker has been good, and the Dodgers, although the Dodgers do hit righties pretty good here, Steve, thinking of this game beforehand, and I know that you've thrown out the Dodgers in the run line. Do you think that this is an opportunity to bet the Dodgers on the run line here at maybe a reduced price?
Yes, it's the only way I would play this one. And if you look at the Dodgers, they are just 7-7 straight up their last 14, but only one of those last 14 games have they won by exactly 1 run. They've lost outright in half of them, so the plus money underdog has cashed, including both Saturday and Sunday at Atlanta. They lost outright. But their other recent wins have been by margin once again. 6 of those 7 wins by 2 runs or more. In fact, over the last 9 games alone, they're just 3-6. Outright losses, of course, is a favorite because they've been favored in every game this year. But their 3 wins have come by 4, 5, and 11 run margins. And this is the best team in baseball coming in this season against what was projected to be Pittsburgh, the worst team in baseball. And by taking the run line, we're getting them from a 2-1 favorite down to basically $1.20, almost a pick-em price. I just did that video, as I mentioned. It's going to be posted here on Wager Talk TV within the next hour or so, a free play for tonight. But I once again mentioned in that video today something I did a big video on Sunday that I recommend people go back and watch, and that this bombshell that's about to break here in baseball with the cheating scandal that's been going on for several years. Looks like MLB is going to finally have to do something about it because they've been called out on it, quite honestly. Go back, watch the Sunday, June 6th video on Wager Talk TV for more details. I mentioned 4 pitchers. Trevor Bauer's the poster child of this issue. He went out Sunday right after I did the video, and he struggled. His spin rate was down over 200 RPM. The Dodgers staff and relievers are up overall this year since he's joined the team. He's brought whatever synthetic substance he's developed. However, Buehler is a little bit of less of a concern for me than some of the other pitchers on this team. I think he's a good pitcher regardless. His spin rate not quite as important. So I like the fact that we have Buehler on the mound tonight. It's a good bounce back spot for the Dodgers. Once again, they'll watch the free play video, be up today. Go back and watch that June 6th video. It's groundbreaking information that we're going to use handicapping going forward.
Yeah, check it out, guys. Wager Talk channel there, June 6th video. And Dave, to Steve's point here, and we also got Patrick. By the way, guys, huge shout out to the chat box. Really live right now at the start of the show. Patrick saying, I'd be skeptical playing any unders with the MLB crackdown. To Steve's point, I'll throw it over to you. Any comments on what's going on here, Dave?
Well, the problem is, how are they going to enforce the crackdown? Because some of the items that are used they're okay. I don't know how they're going to determine this, and I don't even know how they're going to go. Managers' challenges. Boy, the game's slow enough already. Just something else to add to it. It's bad enough that these pitchers are now dawdling for an extra 20 seconds or so between pitches so they can look at the index card in their back pocket of their cap. You want to outlaw something, outlaw that. Go to take them out with the information that you've got in your head. That's it. You don't get to consult cards. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It just slows things down to a crawl. I'm going to be interested to see how this gets enforced before I make any set assessments on it. But I think what Steve said has merit. Pitchers with extraordinary spin rates, you would think, would be the most likely targets of the challenges.
Yeah, that makes total sense, guys. So something to watch out for going forward. Whenever we get change as sports bettors, which it sounds like we might, make sure to check out Steve's video there, June 6th video on the Wager Talk channel. A lot of times that is prime for finding winners here. So you want to be on the right side of some of this information. Guys, we got next game up here. Houston and Boston. This is a good one here, Steve. We get Perez versus Valdez, two pitchers actually in good form here, near a pick'em price. Seeing the Astros mostly minus 115, double digits here, 10 as the total in Fenway. Boston, tough stretch of games here, having to play that extra game yesterday against the Fish. The bullpen kind of taxed right now, Steve. Not sure how that comes into effect, but Astros minus 115 is the side I'm looking at. How do you feel Astros and Red Sox tonight in Fenway, Steve?
Well, it's one of the biggest total on the board. I believe it is the biggest total here at 10 tonight, but for good reason. As we've seen in many sports, high totals go over, low totals go under. In fact, one of the videos I did last week here on Wager Talk TV, I used an under 6.5. It, of course, landed 7. I missed it by half a run. That's always the price you pay with 6.5s. But I had Ralph Michaels actually pull up the numbers for me because I know that under 6.5 has hit this year more times than not. And it's actually cast on the blind 8 of the last 9 seasons. You've made money plus money playing games under 6.5 or lower. 8 of the last 9 years, it was 31 and 21. I believe it's about 33 and 22 now this season, even with that half-run loss last week. So big totals are big for a reason, and this one has offense written all over it. It'd be the only way I played. And going back to your point, Drew, about the uncertainty with this cheating scandal and what Dave said, I agree with. We'll have to see kind of the million-dollar question is when do they crack down on it and how do they do it? But my point with Bauer, as we saw, he dropped off 200 RPM Sunday because he is on the radar. And I think a lot of these guys that are on the radar are being cautious. But where you're going to see it the most is with the relievers. And that's what's so unpredictable about this stuff. So you don't know exactly how to use it, but it definitely is not going to help the pitchers. So I think it helps scoring. On the default, it's a little bit of a filter I'm using to like an over maybe a little bit more. And I like the over already in this game, so I have no hesitancy pulling the trigger over 10, especially if some of these bullpen guys can't spin the ball like they were.
Good point. Bullpen's even going to be more volatile than they already are, most likely here. Dave, what are you feeling here in Fenway tonight?
It's Fenway Park. Breeze is out, hot and humid. That's not good for lefties at Fenway. The wall, maybe it can prevent some balls from going out because it's a high wall, but pop flies might end up on Lansdowne Street tonight. Two good pitchers. I mean, Valdez is a heck of a pitcher. He's got a great arsenal, and if he can stay healthy, he's going to put up good numbers for Houston. Martin Perez is pitching really well for the Red Sox right now, so maybe they can contain the hitters. But I have a tendency to agree with Steve. I think this game has factor in the climate tonight at Fenway, and believe me, I grew up in this ballpark. The ball really flies. You got to be letter perfect to pitch well on nights like this at Fenway. I'd have to lean to the over. If you can get a 9.5, that's a pretty good play.
Like it, Dave. And chat box asking, can we post a link to the June 6th video in the chat box? That's from Jeremy. Jeremy, yeah, we'll either get it out here to the chat box or below. I know Steve's always good at commenting on the videos, maybe a link below on replay here on the YouTube channel to the June 6th video. But yeah, go ahead, Dave.
The other thing you can do is, I know I always post my videos on Twitter. Steve, I think you do the same thing. So just go to Steve's link on Twitter and scroll down his homepage, and you'll find it there. It's easy.
Yep.
Can do that as well. So Twitter, YouTube, we'll get it out to you all different kinds of ways here. Next game up, Toronto Blue Jays, Chicago White Sox here, Dave. Talk about teams hitting lefties, especially the White Sox. White Sox versus lefties, we get that here. Carlos Rodon and Ray going for the Blue Jays. Total of 8, minus 138, minus 140 here is what I'm seeing the Sox at home. What are you thinking here? Blue Jays and Sox tonight, Dave.
I mean, the White Sox numbers at home against lefties are absurd, but they have come down a little bit lately. In their last start against the lefty at home, Tariq Skubal was tremendous for the Tigers. He had 11 strikeouts in 5 innings and really shut the White Sox down, much to my surprise. Carlos Rodon, they've handled him very well this year, and I think a smart move by La Russa and company. He was not good in his last start, and they haven't started him in several days. He's basically had a full week off. Hasn't pitched since the end of May. So it should be a fresh Rodon on the line, on the mound tonight. Robbie Ray on the mound for Toronto, and he's had a good year. No question about that, but he's facing a very good lineup here. I think if you want to take a shot here, you might and I'm not a big advocate of runs lines. It's not on my card. But if you're looking for a nice price in a game that could be a multi-run win, I'm going to take the White Sox minus 1.5 plus 140. That's an opinion play for me, not an actual selection. But I think they get to Ray, and Rodon Fresh should be good, even against the tough Blue Jays lineup. So we'll make that the opinion for the show. White Sox runs line.
Okay, looking towards laying the run line there. And Steve, the White Sox do have the better bullpen, in the later innings as well. Maybe another point there towards the Sox. What are you liking tonight here on the South Side?
It's a game I was looking at because Chicago's not playing great baseball yet. They're still 36-23, and they've gone just 3-3 their last 6 after 5 straight wins before that. So I was kind of looking for a reason to start back in Chicago here over the next couple of weeks. I think they'll turn it on again. Toronto also just had those games at Buffalo for the first time this year. Now they're traveling. I thought maybe that could be a little bit of a distraction. We'll see how that plays out, but they did have a day off yesterday. But what's going to keep me off the Sox here is just the fact their offense isn't hitting the ball. Despite winning 3 of the last 4, 6 hits or less in 2 of those 4 games. They've had single-digit hits now in, I believe, 9 of their last 10 outings. So I just don't trust this offense right now for Chicago. And Toronto, though, of course, a weaker offensive team on the road this year as they've been for a couple years. Playing in those minor league parks, they've been putting up nice numbers down in Florida and Buffalo at home, not as much so on the road. So this is where I maybe would lean under. Once again, I mentioned I'm a little nervous with unders now with the spin rate thing. So there'd be a lean only. And by the way, in that video, one of the 4 guys I'm naming names, guys. One of the 4 is a White Sox pitcher who went this past weekend. So the White Sox, I definitely have at least one guy on their staff that's doing it. And my theory here, just big picture, is that if it's on that staff, they're all doing it because those guys are sharing information. So the White Sox are playing really good baseball, 36-23. Dodgers also, 2 teams we're talking about. Man, this might be the Astro thing all over again. So buyer beware right now. I'd lean under, but hesitant.
Quick note, by the way, I have a few decent sources still around baseball. And I guess one of the things that some of the pitchers have been doing is in their bullpen sessions, they'll have a few different little plates of stuff, and they'll see which one is performing the best, and that's the one they use during the game. It is going to have an impact. I just don't know. It's just not a measurable impact yet, but it would point to more overs as the season progresses.
Yeah, that seems to be the look here going forward in MLB, at least what I'm leaning towards as well, Dave. But we do have one more game, New York Yankees, Minnesota Twins. It's actually my best bet here, Steve. And it's Montgomery versus Pineda. We got money line here, about a pick 'em. A little bit shaded here towards the Yankees, at least at the opener. You can get their minus 105, 9.5 being the total. This one in Minnesota here, Steve. You like it anything Yankees and Twins tonight?
Yeah, I know I sound like a broken record, but I said I named 4 guys. One of the other guys I named was a Yankee pitcher in that video. And once again, look, Yankees, one of the best teams in baseball. They might only be 31-29, but let's look at who the preseason favorites were this year. The top 4 favorites coming in were Dodgers, Padres, Yankees, White Sox for the most part of the future books. And 3 of those 4 pitchers I named are on 3 of those 4 teams, including the Yankees. So another team to be careful with. And they've been getting it done with pitching this year. That's why the Yankees make me nervous, because they are not a good offensive team.
No.
So if you know what hits the fan with the Yankees and that pitching staff with some cheating, this is a team that really could be buyer beware. But like Dave said, I'm taking a wait-and-see approach for the most part. I think it's going to trickle in over the next few weeks. By the way, the minor leagues the last couple of weeks have been starting to eject pitchers. Several pitchers have been ejected, and a lot of times there's thoughts that they started in the minors and they work it up when they want to test and do things. Yankees, though, not in good current form. They've lost 8 of their last 10. The one consistency, though, as I said, is that offense is struggling. Single-digit hits in 8 of their last 9 games. They've had 2 runs or less in almost half of those. I'm not going to look for them to flip a switch tonight, even though Minnesota is a good offensive team. I'd actually lean Twins here. I know the Yankees are a popular play in a lot of spots, but I'd actually lean Twins, just better current form offensively, and I just need to see New York get out of this funk.
Okay, interesting, Steve. Dave, coming over to you, I would say, Montgomery's in a little bit better form right now than Pineda if you're looking to bet towards the Yankees. But to Steve's point, Minnesota bats have been a little bit better. So what are you thinking tonight in Minnesota?
Well, and you always have to mention this. The Twins and the Yankees kind of lopsided. The results between these teams. The Yankees have just owned the Twins for so long, and you wonder if that's in their heads. Montgomery's up a very good performance, but he's been very average on the season.
Looks like we got a little technical difficulties there with Dave's feed, but talking about the Yankees, maybe we can get his opinion here for best bets because we got that coming up next, guys. But first, do want to say, 250 people watching right now. Thank you for tuning in live each and every day on the YouTube channel, 1:45 Eastern, 10:45 a.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday. So
what just happened?
Each and every day, Monday through Friday, come back and join us. But I guess we can start off best bets here. Steve, I'll start us off talking about this Yankees-Twins game and a couple reasons why I'm actually betting the Yankees here, Steve. We get the Yankees. If you shop around at the pick'em price of -105, so risk 105 to win 105, Montgomery versus Pineda. Now, Pineda going for the Yanks, guys, against his former team. A lot of people out there, he's going to be motivated to pitch against this former team. Sure, that could be the case, but the fact is, he's had forearm tightness, his velocity down last start. He actually only went 3 innings, gave up 5 earned runs, 7 hits against the Baltimore Orioles. So I'm actually looking to fade Pineda right now, going up against the Yankees lineup that has been up and down, let's face it. But Montgomery, the starting pitcher for the Yankees, has been really good. His last 3 starts, 2 flat ERA, even more importantly, 1.06 whip and a 25% K rate. So at a pick'em price, we get the better starting pitcher and we get the better bullpen there in the Yankees. So overall, I think the Yankees -105 is a good play here for best bets. Dave, I think we got your feedback. I'm starting us off on best bets here, but I'll throw it back over to you. Any closing thoughts here, Yankees and Twins, and also what your best bet is?
I thought maybe I got ejected for using a foreign substance. Apparently not. I'm back. On the Yankees Twins, my numbers point to the Twins, but I don't like it. I don't like it. So nothing for me there. A play I am using tonight at Camden Yards, Mets and Orioles. And on paper, it's the worst starting pitcher matchup on the board today with David Peterson, who has been in poor form for the New York Mets, and he has not been good on the road, facing Bruce Zimmerman, who's actually pitched okay his last couple of starts, but I've seen him, and his stuff is really ordinary. And his game score for the season, his average game score is 44, which is quite a bit substandard. I think you've got the makings of a high scoring game early here. I didn't want the full game as much because the Mets bullpen is very good, and the Orioles bullpen has been surprisingly adequate on the season. Not always good; sometimes gets blown up, but it's been decent for the most part. So I wanted to focus on the first 5 innings. A hot, humid night in Baltimore, and Camden Yards is a launching pad in those conditions. You've got 2 starters who aren't very good on the mound. I went with the over 5, -115, -120, over 5 in the first 5 between the Orioles and Yankees. It's a play for me. It's my free play today, and it's my best bet here on the show. I do have a best bet in baseball tonight. Number 1 of the season at Wager Talk on my 4% best bets. This one's a favorite. I usually like dogs or games that are close to pick 'em. I'm going to lay a price in this one, but I think it's well worth doing. And in fact, I think there's value at the price. You can get that game right now, along with the best bet in the NHL. They're both up right now at WagerTalk.com, my homepage, wt.buzz/DC.
Check them out, Dave Koken at WagerTalk.com. And we got last, certainly not least here, Steve Merrill. Make sure to check out his video, guys, June 6th on the channel here. And also his best bets at WagerTalk.com. And Steve, for the show, where are you going for best bets tonight?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, it's the first time in history I've had 2 5% best bets on the same night. And they both go in the NBA playoffs. Both games tonight on TNT, Sixers and Hawks, and of course Clippers, Jazz, and both are strong 5% best bets on an 11-2 NBA run, longer term 19-6 NBA playoff run. So check that out. Also a baseball best bet as well. So had a lot of other games I was looking at. I didn't want to go too heavy with those strong plays posted. So I do have a free play on my page at WagerTalk.com. Right before I jumped on here, as I mentioned, I did a free play video for an additional game, which will be out within the next hour. So I'm going to go to a third free play here, and I'm going to piggyback with what Dave likes. I like the over in that game as well between the Mets and Orioles. I'll use 9.5 for the game total just to be a little different. I think the first 5 over 5 makes a lot of sense. for the reasons he said. But some other things I want to point out about this is I like to look at offensive momentum. And when a team scores a ton of runs, like the Braves did a few weeks ago, their team total went over, by the way. They put up 6 and 7 the next 2 games after that. Well, the Orioles did it this past Sunday with 18 runs against Cleveland. And it wasn't a fluke. Orioles have now had double-digit hits in 4 of their last 5 games. Not a fluke that they've gone 4-1 straight up those 5 as an underdog in all 4 wins. And I think that offensive momentum continues here with a bad starter on the mound for New York, as Dave referenced. Baltimore also with Zimmerman, both on the season. I'd like to look at whips. Both have poor numbers overall. Peterson, a 5.9 ERA, a 1.4 whip, basically. Zimmerman, 5.4 ERA, and a terrible 1.67 whip. So 2 bad pitchers, 2 mediocre bullpens, 2 offenses that are hot. The Mets, by the way, have put up double-digit hits in 4 of their last 7 games. So both teams are hitting the ball. 2 mediocre pitchers on the mound. I think the over, whether it's over 5, first 5, over 9.5, minus 105 for the game makes sense with Mets and Orioles tonight.
I neglected to mention, by the way, that
yeah, go ahead, Dave.
And I did think this was worth noting. The Orioles on the season at home versus lefties, they have a weighted runs created plus, WRC plus, of 121 for the season. So this is where they've been at their best, at home against lefties. And we'll see if that comes through tonight.
Nice little trend there for the Orioles at home, guys. Recap of the best bets. Talking about that Orioles game there, both Steve and Dave. Mets Orioles first 5 over 5 for Dave, and Steve Orioles over 9.5 minus 105. Of course, that's in the Mets Orioles game there. And I'm on the Yankees at the pick 'em price of minus 105. So again, guys, $2 Tuesday. WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com. Steve Merrill's got those 2 for 1 there, 5% plays. Make sure to check him out. And Dave, as always, good on the diamond at WagerTalk.com. So for Dave, Steve, I am Drew. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Best of luck with your bets. Please smash that like button on your way out and enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.
Sign up for the free WagerTalk text club to gain access to free plays and exclusive discounts. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.